Hi, I'm Amy Bodkin, Special Needs Consultant at A Charlotte Mason Plenary. Today we're going to be discussing principle number 3 of Charlotte Mason's 20 Principles. This is part of a free 20 Principles study over at A Charlotte Mason Plenary's website. Rachel has already recorded a video of principle number 3, digging deep into some of the background behind Charlotte Mason's 20 Principles. This video will be focused more on our special needs families and how we can use these principles to adapt Charlotte Mason's method for our homeschools. I tend to divide the principles into 3 different types of groups: body, mind, and soul, or spirit, if you will. This idea that we all have a physical body, we all have a mental mind, but we also all have this spark that's not our body and not our mind, and that's what gives us value. And as we head into principle number 3, we're going to be discussing the type of environment that we can provide our children to allow for their potential to grow. Because that's what all of the first section of these physical principles is all about. How we treat our children physically so that they can grow. Principle number 3 says, "The principles of authority on the one hand and of obedience on the other are natural, necessary, and fundamental." And that's true. Everyone in this world is under some kind of authority at some point in time. You are not allowed to go out and kill people. It's not okay. You'll get in trouble with the law for doing that. Adults are too. And it's one of those things that we do have to learn in life, that there are certain things where we are under the authority of someone else. Maybe, you want to keep your job, so you're under the authority of someone else to keep yourself from getting fired. And so that's normal. But I think the thing that we need to remember is that we're talking about principles. And principles dictate how we treat people. And so you have a certain amount of freedom yourself, but the freedom that you have as a person ends where somebody else's freedom begins. And these principles are ideas that we often see repeated over and over again with different wordings in different cultures. The golden rule, the silver rule, they all kind of say the same kind of thing. And you can see those rules repeated in cultures throughout history and the world. And so the principles that guide authority and obedience, they're about providing us with these guidelines of how far does our freedom extend and how can we protect somebody else's freedom as well. And so what I want you to think about over the next few days is, what are the principles that your home lives by? And I'm not talking about the rules or the laws. Those are more specific. That's how can I get along and survive in this environment. Those aren't the ideas that you live by. Principles are ideas that transcend time and culture, and they deal with how we see other people and how we believe that we should treat other people. So that's something really important to think about. Very rarely do we tend to think about what are the principles that our family lives by. The really basic ones. Can you get it down to about 3, maybe 5 tops? And then, what are the rules that our family lives by? And it's not even what we live by. It's the rules that we know these things are the things we need to survive in this house. And I always tell people, if you're going to have rules, have no more than 3 to 5. Because you've got to be able to, 1, for the kids to be able to remember them, and you've got to be able to consistently enforce them. So think about, what's the difference? What are the principles we live by? What are the rules we need to survive in this particular environment? What makes this work? Rules tend to be more practical and more centered on your environment, whereas principles are more centered on philosophical ideas and how we see and treat other people. So that gives you something to think about for the next few days. And then we will be heading into principle number 4 and learning a little bit more about the tools that we have available to us to shape the environment that our children are growing in to encourage as much potential as possible. Don't forget to click the bell so you'll be notified anytime there's a new plenary video coming out, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me.